everybody. I am here and I'm going to be talking to you about something that has to do with emotional intelligence and emotional wellness today. So I'm super excited to share this with you. Once in a while, you guys know I talk about mental wellness instead of necessarily physical wellness. And so, what I'm going to share with you, here to talk about the art of relationships. So I'm super excited to talk about this because I definitely have some personal goals when it comes to this. And I've also had to learn a lot when it comes to this, being that my first two core personalities are very task oriented rather than people oriented. Some of this actually might come off from me more like the science of relationships because that's kind of how my brain thinks. I made a lot of goals, studied a lot of things, and I'm do fairly well, I think, on the building rapport part of it, because I'm going to have this in two categories, which is building rapport, which is basically getting to know someone fairly quickly and starting the relationship, and then the maintaining of a relationship. I'm going to kind of divide them in those two categories. And so some of my personal goals right now are working better at the maintaining of the relationship part. So just a little bit about some of the things that I've learned in the past and about me and why I do think I'm pretty good at the rapport part is that all of my jobs with General Motors are jobs where I don't make anything. I don't really produce anything. My job is to basically convince other people to help me do something for me or for someone else. So I spent a lot of time in the supply chain world, which meant that I had to manage the flow of parts into certain areas or manage suppliers. And so again, my job was basically to get my suppliers to do certain things or to get people to ship certain things. And now I'm in the area of facilities management and I do project management, and it's the same thing. Like, I own sites, but no one reports directly to me. I just have to convince buyers and managers and different people to do certain things. And I have to be able to communicate with an individual that may be an illiterate person cleaning a bathroom at a plant in Mexico, and I have to be able to communicate with a plant manager. And so, as I said, I think I've done a pretty good job at the rapport part of it, because as I do things, especially in my business, one of the things that has gotten easier and easier for me is just for people to give me their information right away. I know when I first heard that, getting someone's phone number, I will build a relationship with somebody at the video store or one of my vendor events, and I have no problem having people give me their information. We had a power hour today with my team, and we did some care calls together, and I was texting the individual that I actually signed up when I was in YouTube, my Uber driver, and we had a great conversation. So, I've only seen that person once, sent postcards and text message on a regular basis. Hey, thanks for saying hi. But I've been able to keep that relationship. So I'll get started. I did look up a couple articles, and I definitely have a couple of references. Again, some of them are new for me, some new audiobooks that I'm super excited to go through. So just to start out, why is this so important? Building strong, close relationships, I found this quote, building strong, close relationships is a virtual prerequisite for human flourishing, right? And that's what we all want to do. We want to thrive, we want to flourish. And that was by Dr. Finkel. Whether we're seeking to persevere through adversity or to stretch ourselves in challenging new directions, support from our loved ones is crucial for success. So if you have some big goals, the way you're going to hit those is by having strong, close relationships. Or if you just have a struggle in your life, the best way to get through that is to rely on your strong, close relationships. So, starting with the section of building rapport, one of the really important things is to have open body language and the proper body language. Marcella Von Harding did a class on this last year at convention. And so you don't want to have closed body language. You don't want to be looking down. You want to have open body language. You want to use gestures that makes you seem alive and vibrant. And if you find some resistance to your message or what's being said, then you actually want to mirror the language of the body language of the other person. So sometimes if you have a real flamboyant, loud personality, that can create resistance in a person that may be reserved. And in that case, you're going to actually want to maybe pull back and start to mirror their body language. Mirroring their body language will actually be a way for you to build rapport. And when people hang around each other a lot and they have the same mission, the same goal, you'll see that they will actually start to mirror each other's body language. And Marcella von Harding had pictures of that in the class that she gave. So if that's something you want to learn more about, then I suggest that you get her book on conscious language. One of the things she covers is body language and the proper body language before you even start communicating. The other thing you want to do is ask better questions and listen with empathy. So the best conversations are those that stimulate more in-depth dialogue or spark new ideas. So we tend to start with small talk, right? We talk about the weather, we talk about whatever's in the news, we talk about our favorite sports team. But if we really want to build rapport with someone fast, we want to actually try to drive the conversation in a way that can have more depth. So we all have heard to talk about form, right? So asking about their family, that's a good way to start our small talk. Asking about their occupation or what they do, asking what they like to do for fun. But definitely try to, if you're having a great conversation, drive that deeper. Ask what they're actually passionate about. Ask where they see themselves in 5 years, where they see themselves in 10 years. People in business settings are less often asked about their personal passions and endeavors, so their answers will likely come from a more honest place. And then also watch for their body language. So if you ask them about something and you see them leaning forward and getting excited, then ask additional questions. Ask probing questions, because you've hit a nerve, and that's going to definitely build the rapport, because they're going to talk about what they're passionate about, and people love talking about that. And then project confidence. So it's human nature to want to align with those who are positive, confident, and passionate. Studies show upon meeting someone, we're looking for evidence of that confidence in those first few seconds. So one really good book that helps with that is Presence by Amy Cuddy, because the word confident can get misconstrued many times, but you want to have you want to create presence. Make sure that people know that you're there. And she actually talks about positive body, using positive body stance to create that confidence with yourself. She also has a really good TED Talk on it. So you can look up Amy Cuddy and look at her TED Talk. That will give you a little snippet of what presence is about. And I have listened to that audiobook, and it's a really good audiobook. Love it. And then lastly, just be a go-giver. Be ready to help wherever you go and always deliver more than is asked of you. And there's actually a book for that too. So you can look up that audiobook. It's really short, or just read it. I love that book. It's very, very helpful. So those are ways that I would say are super important to build rapport. So that open body language, asking questions and listening with empathy, projecting confidence, and being a go-giver. Now, talking about maintaining our relationships and strengthening them. So I found a super good article from Life Optimizer, and it mentioned a lot of different points, and then at the end it has some books to help broaden those ideas. So again, as we're still maintaining our relationships, listen closely to what other people are saying. Let that person know that you hear them. Engage in active listening. This is something that I definitely need to be better about. One of the things that I do a little bit is that I do give affirmation, because most other cultures other than the U.S. American culture give affirmation. So when a Canadian says A after everything, what they're actually doing is acknowledging and giving affirmation that they heard what you said. In Spanish, they say no, or they'll say verdad. Is that true? or they'll repeat what you say. It's part of their culture of how they communicate. And so I do actually do that some, even when I'm speaking in English, having been in the Spanish speaking culture for over 20 years. So you can look up what active listening is, but asking clarifying questions, summarizing what you've heard, and it doesn't always have to be in words. And that's something that I do too when I'm listening to people. I do tend to lean forward. I do tend to like nod my head that I understand them. Respond carefully. So a lot of times we're not really even listening, and we hear half of it, and then we're listening just so that we can respond. But we want to listen to everything they're saying, pay close attention, and then think before we speak. Especially if something was said that we disagree with, if it sparks some anger in us, we need to stop and take a moment to think about what we say before we start just spilling things out that could hurt people. Another good point, avoid consistently giving advice or trying to fix all your friends' problems. Sometimes friends just need us to be friends. Teammates just need us to be teammates. We just need catharsis. Just wait for people to ask you for your help. Listen and acknowledge first, and wait for them to ask. Be authentic. Be yourself. Be honest. Avoid putting up a facade. That is attractive to other people. Communicate openly and honestly. It's not always easy to do that, but a couple weeks ago, Brendan Bouchard talked to us about how important it is to communicate openly and honestly. So, a lot of us probably need to practice that. Accept your friends for who they are. Everyone is a unique, amazing individual with different strengths. People don't have to think like us. They don't have to do things our way. There are many ways to do things. So accept your friends for exactly who they are and celebrate who they are. Respect their choices. It is okay to agree to disagree. And I feel like this is a struggle for a lot of people. I have no problem agreeing to disagree with people. I know that my strengths and my personalities are vastly different from most people, and I love seeing the strengths of other people. So be okay to agree to disagree. It's fine. We can still love each other. We can still be friends. Be the kind of friend you want others to be for you. Again, it goes back to that go-giver. As you continue down that relationship, as you continue strengthening that relationship, rather than looking for faults in others or feeling what's missing or looking at teammates or corporate or upline or whoever, rather than finding fault with people, be the person that you want others to be for you. Just set the example. Just do the right thing when it's hard. Do the right thing when others are distracted. Do the right thing when the shipment comes late. Just treat others with kindness and the way that you would want to be treated. Be empathetic. As we're maintaining and strengthening those relationships, we need to continue to be empathetic. We need to continue to feel others' feelings and understand that their feelings are valid and allow them to have those feelings and validate those feelings. Feel their pain in our heart. Give compliments. We can strengthen our relationships by giving as many compliments as possible. The second that a compliment pops into your head, give it to another person. Express gratitude. People are attracted to people who have an attitude of gratitude, who see the good in things, who are optimistic. So express gratitude. Admit and apologize. Sometimes it's difficult for us, but admit when something goes wrong and immediately apologizes. A great way to make sure that your relationships stay strong. Let go. Right? People don't do things usually 99% of the time. They don't do anything to us. They do things based on their personality, how they grew up. They're just distracted. Give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And when someone hurts you that you're in a relationship with, a friend, a teammate, a spouse, a partner, let it go. Most of the time, they didn't do it on purpose. They really didn't do it on purpose. They were having a bad day, or they were distracted, or they were thinking about themselves and didn't think about it. So just let it go. Make time for those relationships. So however you decide to build the relationship, if you're building relationships with people that are near to you, make sure that you're scheduling time with them. If you're building them with individuals online, make sure that you're spending time with those individuals. However, the best way to communicate with them is make time for those people. Keep your promises. Be good about watching your schedule, and if you're not going to deliver something, do not promise that you will. Keep your promises. Celebrate the things that you have in common. So, again, we're all different, we're all amazing, we're all unique, but we have a lot of stuff in common. And I think that's one of the reasons why I do so well at building rapport with people, is that I try to find something in common really fast with people. If I'm in the video store, I make like best friends with all the people that check me out because, hey, we have a love of movies. They can give me some advice. Or, the individual that I mentioned at the beginning that I was chatting with that I met in Utah, he's older and retired, and he's a male, but I asked him what he did before that, why he liked driving for Uber, and he was in IT until I talked about my office job. And celebrate what you have in common. That's a great way to, when you start the relationship, do that, and continue to do that as you're maintaining those relationships and strengthening those relationships. Continue to celebrate all the things that you have in common, whether that's we both have a love for God, or we both are into this healthy kick, or whatever it is. Instead of looking for differences, celebrate the things that you have in common. Try new things together and have fun together. The more fun, wonderful experiences that you create in your relationships with your spouse, with your friends, the better that relationship is going to feel to you. Take equal responsibility for the friendship. If there's a rift, if there's a problem, take your responsibility for your side of that. Be a cheerleader. Everyone needs more cheerleaders in their life. There's so much negative in the world. So everyone needs more cheerleaders. So be everyone's cheerleader. Keep personal information confidential and unclench your fist. Friendships grow and change. Sometimes they actually end. But if you're doing everything that you can to maintain that relationship and it's obvious that it's changed, don't try to hold on to something that has evolved and changed. If you're no longer close to someone, let that relationship be what it is. Don't try to keep your fist clenched and hold on to it. Let it just naturally evolve the way that it needs to. So, those were the tips that I found, some of the things that I'm going to be trying to apply in my life. And the second list on maintaining and strengthening your relationships, I got the article would reference 3 books, one of which is How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is the ultimate relationship building book that everyone always references. So hopefully you guys have read that. If not, put that at the top of your list. It's been a while since I've been through that, so I should probably re-listen to that. Another one mentioned was Never Eat Alone. So that concept I have heard before referenced in other books before, like never eat alone, right? It's one of the reasons why actually when I work from home on Fridays, I go out for breakfast because at least I have the opportunity to see people. So I put that on my wish list and I'm excited to listen to that. And then the last book that was referenced was The 11 Laws of Likability, Relationship Networking, because people do business with people they like. So I'm excited about that book too. So I added both of those to my Audible wish list, and I'm looking forward to going through those as I continue to develop in the art of relationships. All right, thank you guys. Have an amazing evening. Bye.